All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are in luck today. This young man who's going to be a guest on our show today was a child prodigy in basketball growing up, and he's a real estate prodigy now. On for the third time. This is a hat trick. You're going to see him right now, right after this, on Cliff's Notes.
Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it.
All right, I'm telling you what. 3 times. Can you believe that? This is the first time in almost 100 episodes we've had somebody on the show 3 times. And the reason why is this young man is something else. He is, as we say around the office,
in fuego.
Which means slightly on fire,
on
right?
Fire.
Yeah. His hair is on fire, right? Or something's on fire.
I wish I had some.
Yeah. It's all right. It made a run for it. Mine's doing it. It happens to all of us at some point. Andre Polk, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks for having me back.
You are just an incredible role model for us to watch and to partner with, and we're just excited here. And if you're in the audience, get out that pencil, sharpen it up. A clean 8.5 by 14. This is going to be a 14-incher today with rider downers for you. We're going to find out how Andre has done it. He's actually finished his first year and 3 months with us. On his anniversary, he reset and he capped.
That's right.
Which means you did how many transactions in the first 3 months since you reset?
In the first 3 months, I've done 9 transactions.
So that's for August, September, and October.
That's correct.
Those 3 months.
Yes.
Wow. Let me do the math. If you continue at that pace, that would give you 4 times 9 is 36 deals for the year. That is fantastic. And this is really your second full year with us.
Correct.
Right? How many years in the business?
2.
2.
2 and
okay.
some change.
Okay.
Give or
First
take.
year, let's just review that. Remind everybody kind of how you got started.
Yeah.
You started out with another brokerage, and
Yes.
how did that first year go, Andre?
Yeah, so I started with another broker when I, first was able to acquire my real estate license. I did a year there. It was okay. It was a good experience. I met a lot of good people along the way, but just didn't feel that it was a good fit for me. Really didn't have the kind of mentorship, the training, and the other, things that is important for making an agent successful, especially a new agent in the first year. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why when I reached out to you to inquire more about your team and EXP, that I decided to take advantage of the opportunity.
Okay, good. And your first year here, you did really well, too.
Yes.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, now we don't encourage people to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, but
Right.
Andre, you're a part-time real estate agent.
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah, I actually am. I still have the corporate, I guess you could say, the 9-to-5 full-time gig as well. But fortunately, the job that I have, it provides me with the flexibility to be able to focus and concentrate on real estate as well.
Okay, all right. So you're wondering, how does somebody do that? How do you manage that? What's a day in your life look like?
Yeah, so a day in my life is really around making sure that I am completing all of my tasks for, I guess you would say, my main gig, right? Making sure that I am getting everything done, speaking with all of the people that I need to speak with, meeting with all of my clients, which, doesn't take a lot of time. So that affords me with the time to be able to make sure that I'm staying on top of real estate as well in terms of prospecting, identifying ways to meet new people, to solidify and enhance and build rapport with people that are within my sphere of influence, to talk about how to help them on their home buying process if they're looking to buy a home, or to sell a home and put it on the market in today's market. So,
right. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a side hustle. I think everybody's trying to, have a side hustle these days.
Yeah.
But let's give credit where credit's due. Prior to COVID, you were having to travel quite a bit, and I'm sure that took up a lot of time.
Yeah.
But once COVID hit, then you sort of became, a little bit more flexible in your schedule,
Yeah.
which afforded you the extra time that because you think about it, I remember having to drive to an office. Man, I'd spend 45 minutes or an hour, swimming upstream with the rest of the salmon on the tollway, right, trying to get to the office. Now it's just dead time. I mean, you could try to be on the phone and stuff like that, but you couldn't be really effective at it.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, you think about how many hours that this is put back into our calendar,
Right.
and there's a lot of people who are not going to go back into the office.
That's right.
And that's one thing about EXP is that, of course, the corporate office is cloud-based, but you really run your business. Let's talk about how, as a team, we function and you get your support.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the training that you get from us is we do over Zoom,
It's virtual.
and occasionally we'll have live trainings where we all get together because we're social people.
Yep.
We have a big holiday party coming up at the Cowboys Club in December.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. We just did an event at Top Golf, and we like having fun together. We'll be in Cabo in March. The whole team will be there. Hopefully, everybody can make it. But you're really self-managed. What kind of discipline does it take? A lot of people get into this business and they just don't have that discipline to do the things they need to do. How did you acquire that skill?
Yeah, I think I acquired it very young in life. One thing that I am big on, especially today is around prioritization. You have to prioritize what's important, right, in order of what's most important to least important. What are some of the things that has to get done today and within a certain time frame? And what are some of the things that you can kind of put on the back burner that doesn't have that much of an impact if you do not get it done within a specific set time period, right? So I'm big on having a daily to-do list, and I have a huge whiteboard within my home office that I have to write down so I can see it visually, things that I have to complete today and in this order. So I'm a little bit OCD to where if I see things that are on a checklist or that are on my desk that it drives me crazy, right? I'm the type of person, if I see it on my desk, if it's on my checklist, I have to get it done and move on so I can move on to the next task.
Do you fold your socks and your underwear?
I do. I actually do. I fold my socks. I would say occasionally I'll fold my underwear, but yes.
Yeah. Now,
I'm a little bit OCD.
Where did you get that from? Was it a coach, or were you in the service, or where?
No. So my dad is military, but fortunately he wasn't the typical military dad to where he would have us do drills and wake up early and fold your bed in the military style. I think it's just part of my personality as a Virgo, honestly, I'm a neat freak. I like things to be precise and done a certain way. So.
Right, I got you. Your clients are raving fans of yours.
Yes.
Why are they?
fortunately.
What do you do different?
Yeah, I think that's funny you ask because I often talk about this with my wife and my friends is, as an agent, you will be surprised how many clients that I run across that talk about their experience with other agents, how they're not responsive, and they just don't provide good customer service, really, because when you think about it, we're in the people business, right? We're in the business of serving others, making sure that they are achieving their goals, whether it's to buy a new home, to sell a new home, to get into the next home. So I think it's really just a matter of prioritizing your clients, what's important to them, and making it your priority, and putting them first, and just being responsive, just being efficient, right? If your client calls you, if they text you, don't wait, to the next day to get back to them. Return the phone call, return the text in a timely manner. And those are just the small little things. It sounds like it's nothing, but actually in this business, it's huge because I hear it all the time when clients say, well, you're the best agent because you're just responsive and you're efficient. So.
The number one complaint against real estate agents is they just don't return phone calls. They don't answer the phone or return phone calls. It's true. It's so true. And it's not a hard thing to do, is it?
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And I think also just building rapport with your clients, right? Understanding what's important to them. Not making it seem like it's just a transaction that you're just trying to get done so you can get a commission check, right? You have to have a real vested interest in what it is that your clients are trying to achieve. And they see when you're genuine, and they see when you're not being real as well.
What are some of when you meet new people that want to work with you, what are some of the questions you ask them?
So I use the Ford model, right?
Okay.
I'm big on asking, okay, so tell me about your family, right? Let's more than talk about this real estate transaction, right? Let's talk about you, the person, your family. Let's talk about your family. So that would be F. Let's talk about your occupation. What do you do for a living, right? And then the R, let's talk about recreation. What are some of the things you like to do for fun? Because maybe there are some synergies that we have where, hey, just to connect with you on a personal level, hey, I enjoy some of those same things, and we can go and enjoy those together. And D, right, F-O-R-D, D would be the dream, right? What are some of the things that you would like to accomplish in life, and why? Why is that important to you, in addition to why is buying or selling your home is important? Those are some of the questions that I ask in an initial meeting with the client to peel back the onion, so to speak, to get a good understanding and to understand where they're coming from and why it's important.
Yeah, you notice that some agents are trained and they just start right off with LP Mama, which is location, property, motivation,
price,
price,
Yeah.
do
Time
you have a
frame
mortgage,
and all that, yeah.
all of that sort of thing. And that's before they even earn the right to ask those types of questions. They want to know what are you pre-approved?
Right.
I don't work with people who aren't pre-approved, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that? Can you imagine? When you first met your wife, if you'd have walked up to her and said, "You're kind of cute. What's your credit score?"
Right.
Right. How that would have gone over like a fly.
Not
in a punch
good
bowl,
at all.
right?
Yeah.
So that rapport building is really important,
Yeah.
and obviously, you relate very well to people. You've got that, I'd say, that talent, that skill. What do you, looking back in your history, can you identify anything that would tie in to how well you relate with people and how easily you build rapport with people?
It really just comes naturally to me. It's not something that I was trained on. I didn't take any classes or get any kind of certifications. It's just something that comes natural to me because, I have an interest in you as the person. So obviously, that would make you want to ask questions, get to know more about your client. But I would say that's something that resonates with me, right? When I'm a customer seeking a service or a product, I want to see that you have an interest in me as a person before we do business together. Because as an athlete, or at least a former athlete, I think the coaches that I remember the most are the one that I saw that took an interest in Andre as the person outside of basketball and us just trying to compete for victory.
Okay.
And so that's something that stuck with me, and it's something that's just core within my DNA and who I am as a person.
Okay. So you were blessed. You had people who poured into you at a young age.
Yes, fortunately I am, yeah.
Who was your hero growing up?
Yeah, so I would say my hero growing up was with my parents. Two people that I saw work hard. They came from meager, resources and didn't have a lot. But they did their best, to provide me with the opportunities that I had, and I was able to maximize on the gift and the talents that God, has blessed me with. So I would say they are the two people that are my hero.
And so how did that manifest in your life?
Yeah, so it manifested in me having work ethic, right? Being tenacious, setting goals for yourself, and being relentless, right? And not giving up. Just because you do not achieve a goal or attain a certain kind of status that you're striving for at the beginning doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. You just have to be persistent. You have to have that work ethic, and you have to be tenacious in making it happen. I say another thing that is big for me is seeking mentorship and having the humility to ask questions and just admit when you don't know something, right? Ask people for help. Be inquisitive, ask a lot of questions and be curious, be a lifelong learner. And I think those are some of the things that will contribute to a person's success.
How did you get hungry? Is
Yeah.
that something you can teach people?
Yeah, no. Well, honestly, I say no. It goes back to, I remember the first time I was here, one thing that I said is you have to establish what is your why. And I know for me, the one thing that has made me to continue to be hungry is having a fear of lack, is a fear of not having enough, right? And so those are some of the intangibles that I think that are important, that creates a hunger within a person to make them want to strive, to do more, to do better, to have goals for themselves. so they can create and leave a legacy.
You think it's possible to be successful in this business if you're not hungry?
I do not.
Why?
I do not, because I think that the mentality is different from people when things are sort of just given to you, right? And it's nothing having something to give you things, but if you do not marry that with hunger, being inquisitive, and being a student, a self-learner, I don't think that you will be successful in certain things.
Okay, and we're not talking about hungry as in commission breath.
Right.
Right. It's hungry as it applies to a level of service.
That's correct.
Right, and wanting to do the best you can.
Right.
Because we talk often about how the reflection of what's in your bank account is simply how well you're serving other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way we sort of know if we're doing a great job is our bank account gets bigger.
Yeah.
We get more business,
Mm-hmm.
more referrals, people are happy. You can look at the Google ratings and that type of thing as well. But a lot of people think that, you know, it's just it's really about a business, but it's not. You said it earlier, it's about relationships.
Right.
What word would you have? You know, we in our audience we have a whole variety of listeners from friends of ours who run large teams to people who are just thinking about getting in the business. If you were to talk to somebody who's trying to reflect from within, look in the mirror, and decide if they're right for the business, what kind of questions, what would you have asked yourself before you got in the business to see if it was really the right business for you?
Yeah, so I would, some of the things that I would ask myself is, one, what kind of freedom are you seeking to have in your life? I think real estate provides you with that. It's hard work, but it also provides you with freedom and flexibility. And two, honestly, I would say, what is something that I can get into in order to maximize my earnings? And is service something that I like to do? Do I actually like serving people, or is it something that's all about me?
Okay.
Those are some of the questions that I would ask.
That last one's a tough question.
It is.
Putting other people first.
Putting other people first, right?
Yeah.
And if that's something that you do not prefer to do, and obviously, you know, we all have some selfishness within us, right? That's just who we are as humans. But if you do not enjoy seeing a smile on other people's face on closing day, when you see that you turn a dream into a reality, I take pleasure in that. I actually like seeing that on closing day when people are shedding tears, like literally, because you got them into a home, right? And maybe from where they're from, they didn't grow up in a home, right? And so it's huge, the impact that you can have on a person's life in this business. And those are the questions that I would ask internally within yourself. Is if those are things that you do not enjoy, if it's really just self-centered and about you, it's probably not the business for you.
Right. Yeah. These days, you almost have to be a UFC fighter with these other agents to get your offer accepted, right?
My goodness.
That's
yeah,
true.
No kidding.
It's hard.
That's true.
Very
Yeah.
hard. And you work for it, for sure.
Absolutely.
What's your definition of success?
My definition of success is simple. Are you satisfied with the quality of life that you have? Are you satisfied with the trajectory of life that you're on? And are you satisfied with the legacy that you're leaving? And it's not just monetary, right? It can be a genre of other things, but are you satisfied with the quality of life that you have, right? And if you are aspiring to do better, are you at least on the trajectory to doing so? And I think if you are, then you could deem yourself as being a success.
It's really not about the money, is it?
It's really not. It's really the money is important. Don't get me wrong, but
I mean, next to oxygen, it's probably
that's
the most
true. Money
important thing you're
solves all
going to need in
problems.
life.
So, but money
Right.
is important. But I think if you're doing all the proper and correct things to make the money, the intangibles, I think the money will follow.
Yeah.
Me personally.
How, Andre, how important has self-development been in your life?
Oh man, self-development. Without it, it's easy to fall by the wayside, right? And I often reflect and think about, my days as a former athlete, the work that you have to put in, the discipline that you have to have. Those are all intangible things that makes a person in terms of self-development, right? In terms of as I mentioned, the work ethic, the discipline that you have to have, but also too being a student, learning how to follow before you can first lead. Those are all things that I like to learn more about in terms of self-development, reading, just being a lifelong learner and student of things, of technology and business and spirituality. I mean, you name it, health and fitness. Those are all of the things that I think that are important that goes into self-development.
You mentioned leadership. Who are some of the thought leaders that you follow in leadership?
Yeah, so in terms of business, I'm a big, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, people that kind of think outside of the box. Those are some.
I don't even know what a box looks
or
like.
don't even know what a box looks like, right?
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg. When you look at the success that these men has been able to garner, is because they thought outside of the box, right? And they had a lot of hurdles that they had to overcome, obviously, to get to where they are today. But in terms of thought leadership, I think that the people that achieve the most are those that are comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that goes into self-development as well. It's one thing that I'm learning is that you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get outside of your comfort zone because that's where growth happens. That's where the growth occurs. And so, yeah, in terms of thought leadership, those are definitely people that I look up to.
Yeah.
So what about outside of the business besides Christ?
Yeah. So outside of Christ and outside of business, in terms of thought leadership, honestly, my wife, man.
Your wife?
Yeah, my wife, man. She's pretty sharp.
Okay.
There are a lot of topics that we talk about and things when we just the two of us on date nights or just at home during conversation, thoughts that she would have, things that she would say that would spark and trigger a thought in a way that I probably haven't even thought about it in a perspective that she brings, because I like to think that I read a lot, but she reads way more than I do. And so some of the conversations that we have, and even just watching our children, just listening to our conversation, I see that the impact that it's had on them and is having on them. So outside of Christ, in business, I would say my wife, man, she's a huge inspiration for me. She's actually one of the people that I look up to, to be honest with you, when it comes to being a more avid reader and a learner.
How do you guys challenge each other between the relationship?
Yeah, so it's tough, right? Because, in our relationship, we try to be vulnerable with each other as far as talking about some of the things that we're insecure about or that we're challenged with. And so we challenge each other by saying, hey, okay, if this is a challenge for you or something that you're insecure about, let's put a plan in place to try to overcome it.
Okay.
And so we have a board, a vision board is what we call it. It's in our bedroom. It's on the board, so it's intentional. So every day when we get up, you have to see it. You have to face it, right? And it's something that you can't ignore. And you ask yourself, okay, hey, where am I on these goals that we set in place? And seeing her as my accountability partner and vice versa. Where are you at on that? How's it going? What are some of the challenges that you're having? Is there anything that I can do that can help? Or is there someone else that we can bring in that knows more about this subject or topic or whatever it may be that could provide some thought leadership and give some good advice and counsel as well? So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What tomes are you reading now?
Yeah.
What do you have on your nightstand?
Yeah. So one of the books that I'm reading now is a good book by a German economist. Name of the book is called The Great Reset. Right, and he basically talks about how the entire landscape of business and really the social life in general has basically changed due to COVID. Right, and so some of the examples that he gave is that every business, no matter what the industry is, they are on a journey of transformation. They are in the process of reinventing themselves because they have to, right? Because me being in technology, one thing that I have conversations with my clients about on a daily basis is that COVID has taught us that you have to accelerate your transformation. Whatever growth initiatives that you had as a company, well, you have to accelerate that now because COVID has pretty much forced you to. You have to be able to take on a cultural change, a cultural shift. And those are just some of the examples that he gave as far as how things have changed and how the life that we are in today is going to be the new normal. Because a lot of people are asking the question, oh, when are we going to get back to normal? Well, this is the new normal, right? We're not getting back to how things were pre-COVID. So moving forward, we're just at the beginning of it. Things are going to continue to evolve, and technology is one of the key factors that plays into that.
You know what's interesting? We've witnessed just in the last couple of days a big disruptor in the market. Zillow has closed the doors on its iBuyer program. I guess all those data scientists were off by a degree or two.
Yeah, the algorithms.
But they had to. They've laid off a quarter of everybody there. Their stock was down 25 points or something, as I recall. Maybe not that much, but. They rolled the dice and came up short. Yeah. What impact do you see technology having them? Because you're in your unique position. Yeah. You're deep into technology, and now you're deep into real estate. Yeah. I'm sure you follow what's going on. What's your vision for technology changing our industry over the next couple of years?
So actually, that's really one of the reasons that brought me to EXP. Right, is how EXP is on the cutting edge in terms of technology in the real estate industry. And I think that the way that technology is going to change our industry is that we're going to be more data driven, more data focused. You know, we have a lot of data at our disposal. So how are we going to take that and be able to use the insights that we get from it and be able to monetize it off of it, and actually be able to pivot and adjust to whatever conditions that the market throws to us. Yeah. So I think that for brokers that do not have good technology at their disposal, I think they're going to be left behind.
Yeah, you know, Zillow has long been recognized as, you know, sort of the king of data. I mean, they really have access to and use data in ways that we never have. Right. As EXP continues to grow and we roll out our single broker portal that's going to be worldwide at some point, that's going to give us access to a lot of data. Do you ever think there'll be a time, Andre, when people are going to do real estate transactions like getting a Coke out of a vending machine? Is there ever going to be a time?
Kind of like a Carvana or
like something Carvana, like that. Yeah. Is there ever going to be a time when there's no need to have a real estate agent?
Yes and no, because I personally feel that, you know, there's nothing better than having a personal touch with an agent, right? And the expertise that an agent has, rather than doing things on your own or through some, you know, technology platform. So I don't think that nothing can replace that, but at the same time, you have people, when you think about how demographics change, you have younger buyers that are coming to the market that are more used to leveraging technology to pretty much govern their life, to where they're going to say, hey, you know what, I don't need a real estate agent. You know, I can do everything digitally on my own and leverage technology doing that.
I mean, there's always going to be people that like to do their own trades and, you know, do their own research. That's true. But for most people, they don't do more than 4 or 5 real estate transactions in their lifetime.
That's right.
Right. So there's no way they can know the ins and outs of the field without being in it and having somebody guide them through there.
Right.
That's interesting. Okay. What about you personally?
Yeah.
What we talked a little bit about this over lunch. I'm going to throw it out on you here now.
Yeah.
What's your BHAG? What's your big, hairy, audacious goal for the next 2-3 years?
So for the next 2 to 3 years, I think the next focus for me to make a shift in my business is really centered around agent attraction, right? Obviously, you know, me growing my business personally obviously goes into that, right? But I think agent attraction, building a team, equipping agents, whether it be new agents or agents that's coming in from different brokerages or whatever. But I think agent attraction is the next step in direction where I see my career headed.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing trends in the business now where teams, because it's getting so expensive to generate leads, it's the business is really getting specialized. It's like you said earlier, we used to be the center of information. Just like doctors had all the information. Then WebMD came out, and everybody thought that was going to put doctors out of business. Well, that didn't happen.
Correct.
You know, Expedia, the guy that started Zillow, right, started Expedia. Well, I mean, Expedia sells, you know, hotel rooms and seats on planes. They don't sell houses.
Correct.
And as Zillow found out, selling houses is a whole different ball game than selling seat 12D on a 737.
That's right.
Right? So I think sorry, we just checking to see if there was an accident downstairs. I think what is, what's important for people to know and to understand about the real estate business is you really underestimate how important the relationship part of this business is. It's really like no other. I mean, I think that even travel agents, if I've got a trip that I'm trying to plan, I've never been there, and it's a sophisticated tour that I want to do, I want a sharp travel agent who knows, like if I want to, plan a trip to Serengeti or something like that, I'm not going to go just buy it off, Fun Jet Vacations and get the cheapest one I can. Right. I want an expert to help guide me who knows, those areas and has been, there themselves and can advise me on what the best thing to do is. So I think that this whole demise of the real estate agent and even Zillow, I don't think Zillow was necessarily trying to put real estate agents out of business. I think all they're trying to do is figure out our business and see if they can build a process or a system to replace things that we're doing inefficiently, which is not necessarily a bad idea. When the internet came out and all of the listing information became public information, people at that point thought the real estate agent was going to become obsolete, right? But it didn't happen because, like you said earlier, you need that expertise and and
someone
that intelligence, that wisdom,
Yeah.
right? It's not just the data; it's what you do with the data and how you process it that really matters.
Yes.
And
Very
it's
interesting.
also hard to take the emotion out of the transaction as well. There's a lot of emotions, from.
I think sometimes we need
Absolutely.
a couple of extra licenses, right, to deal with our folks.
Yeah.
Marriage
100%,
license,
yeah.
Sometimes we could be
Therapist.
glorified counselors, right?
Yeah,
Therapists.
for sure,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure. I've heard
Yeah.
things that I should never hear before. And
Yeah.
It's like, why'd you tell me that?
Yeah.
Right.
But
right.
I mean, but that really is what it's all about. I mean, this is the largest asset that most people are ever going to buy or sell in their lifetime, and it takes a lot of TLC. So interesting. So you see agent attraction. Are you interested in building a team?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
I even have the name of, what I would want my team to be in mind.
You gonna share that with us? Or
Yeah,
is that
so Red Dot.
Red Dot.
Red Dot Realty.
Red Dot Realty.
Something to that effect.
I like that.
Okay.
That's the name that I'm kind of
It's got a nice
kind of
ring
molding
to
over.
it.
Red
Yeah.
Dot Group.
Yeah.
Red Dot
So
Tech.
yes, definitely building a team. As I mentioned, being able to onboard and mentor and coach agents from whether it be a seasoned agent or a new agent that just got their license. Those are the things where I see the trajectory for me going in real estate.
Man, if I wish I'd have met him when I got started in real estate. It wouldn't have taken me as long as it did to get where I wanted to be. But I think you're going to do great.
Yes, I'm
And
excited.
you'll have the help with the onboarding process too. So
Yes.
That's right.
That's
it
true.
is
Yeah,
right.
that's
true.
So that shouldn't be hard for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not
Right.
at all.
Talk to us a little bit about your business now, and where does most of your business come from?
Yeah, so actually most of my business is, self-generated through personal friends, my own sphere of influence, and referrals. Because I think that is important as an agent is to build your own book of business and not rely on, other sources to provide you with business. I think it's important to be able to cultivate the relationships that you have, stay in front of them, always provide information that's helpful, that's meaningful, and that's insightful. Because to me, I see it as what can you do to get mind share within the mind of your sphere of influence, right? So that's why I do a lot of things on social media. I do my own email and drip campaigns and my own marketing because, again, it's all about mind share. How can you win mind share within your sphere of influence?
So you don't really have to spend a whole lot of money to do that then. If you're
No.
somebody who's brand new in real estate and doesn't have a big budget for lead generation,
Yeah.
what would you suggest?
Yeah, I had this conversation quite often with agents that reach out to me, new agents that reach out, and they say, hey, how do you get started? And I say, well, the first thing that you need to do is go through all of your list of contacts, not just in your phone, but if you have a LinkedIn account, right? Facebook, your social media, go through all of the list of contacts that you have And if you do not have the email address and their contact information, ask them for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I would say, you need to create some kind of marketing campaign, whether it's a subscription to, a real estate institution that provides good, news on the industry, and make sure that you're sending out information to your sphere of influence and just stay top of mind. Whether it's posting things on Facebook, I would say start there, but start with your own sphere of influence and the people that you know. And then obviously you have to, be able to come up with creative ways to meet new people, whether it's joining certain organizations within your community, your PTA, with, the school at your kids, coaching a little league team, old colleagues from the past, your church, whatever you do. I think those are all the good ways to start, just to let people know that, hey, I'm in this industry. But you also have to be able to make sure that you're knowledgeable and that you're competent, and that they see you as an expert when it comes to real estate. Because I want the perception to be that, hey, at least with my sphere of influence, that all things real estate, I need to go to Andre. Mm-hmm. So that's the perception and what I am trying to create within the minds of the people that I know.
Real quick, I want to talk about branding. You talk about building your brand. Mm-hmm. You're a part of our group here at the Cliff Freeman Group, which is brokered by EXP, but you're almost kind of independent when it comes to the marketing that you do in regards to your services you provide.
Yes.
Is that a lot different than what you're used to in the past at your previous brokerage? Was it just, Ebby's name, and then it was yours very small?
That's
so
really
what
it was.
It's kind of a role reversal in the sense that I can market myself.
Absolutely.
EXP, I'm a part of Cliff Freeman's group,
right?
But I don't have to have it on my marketing.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on that, and
you
it's
hit
a
it
little
right on
different.
The head. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it's just it's unique because when you join up with us at the group, people are thinking, well, I don't want to have to, put the Cliff Freeman Group, or I don't want to be a part of a group. You're more of an independent agent within the group.
Because the people have to know you, right? It's
Correct.
one thing to know EXP,
but it's about you. It's your business.
Yeah.
Right.
It's your business, so you have to take it. You have to own it, right? Because the way that I see it is, EXP or whatever broker that you're with, they have given you a part of the business to own. You're your own CEO. You're your own chief financial officer, your own chief marketing officer, which is probably the most important.
Right.
Your own chief operations officer. You're it.
I wear all the hats.
So you have to have you wear all the hats, and so you have to have the proper processes in place to make sure that you're being efficient and effective.
What would you say the number one benefit of joining up with our group has been since your transition?
I would say being able to have the counsel from experts like you guys. Cliff with his.
More so
with this expertise and being in the business for years, right? The relationships that he has, and be able to leverage those, and just the good advice and coaching that he provides. I think those are all the reasons why I want to be not just at ESP, but specifically with the Cliff Freeman Group.
Cool.
And so for any agent that's looking for somewhere to go, I highly would recommend, and I'm a huge advocate for the Cliff Freeman Group.
How do you think? And real quick, I'll stop at this, but how do you think that if you had done anything different besides join our group, how do you think your business would have, saddled up to where it is now? Do you think you would have, there's a lot of what ifs, but
right. I think so, because prior to joining the Cliff Freeman Group, right, I've spoke with people that have teams at other brokers, right? Even within EXP, I spoke to a few other team leads. But I think the one thing that's unique and that's different with the group that I'm in now with you guys is that one example that I can use is the amount of content that's at your disposal that Cliff provides, right? So with the the weekly DFW home reports that comes out on Mondays.
Reports,
those are important. Those are critical. Those are huge because you have to stay on top of
in front
and
of the
be
market.
aware of where the market is in a specific area. So that's just one small example that I can use as far as why it's important to get with the right group and not just any group. Because most I won't say most, but a lot of agents, they join a group based on how many leads can I get. And that's a good nice to have. Don't get me wrong, I'm not minimizing that at all.
No.
But in addition to getting the leads, what else are you getting? Right?
Is
Are
there
you getting?
mentorship?
Is it mentorship? Are you getting the right guidance?
Yeah.
Do you have access?
Speaking of
to your
guidance,
leader?
do you feel that the guidance has been? How has the guidance been so far?
It's exceeded my expectations.
Good. That's
totally has exceeded my
That's
expectations.
what we're trying to do
Absolutely.
for agents.
Absolutely.
My
Absolutely.
son's over here helping me out. I appreciate that.
Sorry, I'm going now.
This is good. You're right.
No, and I appreciate the kind words here. But I'd really rather talk about what your goals are and how quick. Maybe there's some people watching the show right now who would look at you and say, "Wow, man, this guy is somebody I'd really like to get to know and to follow." What's the best way for someone in our audience to find you and get in your calendar or maybe get a conversation with you?
Yeah. So the best way to first find me is obviously on social media. So on Facebook, I have my, EXP on Andre Polk /EXP Realtor page. And on Instagram, my tag is Andre Polk Sales Homes on Instagram. Andre Polk Sales Homes. And actually, I don't mind giving out my number. I'm always accessible by phone or text. I'm always open to a conversation, right? So you can also reach me via cell phone. My number is 214-455-4802. And I always tell people, if you're not a client, I always try to, give at least a 24-hour window for response times.
Right on.
But typically
Sure.
more quicker than that, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you just want to be reasonable and
Yes.
set expectations, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's an old saying: if you don't manage your clients are
Manage you.
managing
Yeah.
All
right?
the time.
Yeah, and not just in real estate.
Yeah.
Do you remember at lunch I told you we were gonna get started and we were gonna look up and go, hey, you know what?
It's that
just
time.
about the end of that. Well, guess what?
Crazy.
Is that wild how that
It
works?
feels like we're just getting started.
I know we could go for hours. There's so
Yeah, we
much.
could.
You're such a deep person and
Yeah.
and so rich in your ideas and your background. We really could go on for probably the rest of the afternoon and talk about some high level stuff. But unfortunately, we do have to sort of approach the runway here.
Right.
Is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience, Andre, that's on your heart that maybe you didn't get a chance to express in the show so far?
Yeah, I will say again, I'm always, huge on repetition is the best teacher. So I always, I always ask my children this question, what is your why? What is your reason for getting up this morning? And what's important to you and why is it important? And ask yourself those questions and seek the advice that you need to seek and get on that road to making things happen.
One real quick thing. There are probably some people out there who don't know who to go seek advice from.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you suggest that they might go to for advice or help?
Yeah, so I would say, whatever it is that you need advice on, seek out who are people that have expertise in those particular areas, right?
Okay.
If I need expertise in finance or health or whatever, well, I'm going to go to people that have expertise in those specific fields. I'm not going to lean on my own understanding because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a financial advisor or a stockbroker or a wealth manager. So I would say get proper advice from the right folks. And don't take advice from everybody.
It may be outside of their circle of friends too.
That's right. So that goes back to getting outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
And being able to introduce yourself to people that you do not know.
Which gets me to one final thought and that's what we say is the most expensive thing that a person can own, and that's a closed mind.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well,
Closed mind.
Andre, I'm telling you, man, it is such a recharge hat trick, right?
Hat
First
trick.
time,
Three is a charm.
first time. We're on episode 98 today, and we always enjoy having you on the show because you're moving faster than Elon Musk in a lot of things. And,
Tell you what.
And we're just we want to keep up with you and share with the audience somebody that's really doing it right. And, the real estate business gets all kinds.
Yeah.
And you are just a great asset for the business and for your family and for everything that you represent. And we're excited to be in business with you and can't wait to see where you're going from here. I know it's going to be the moon.
Well, no, I definitely appreciate it. And once again, I can't thank you guys enough for having me on your team because there are many other agents, and I'm pretty sure that reach out to you guys and that ask, hey, what does it take to be on your team, that probably get denied. So I feel honored, feel privileged, and thanks for you guys for having me back again.
We appreciate you, Andre.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen out there in the audience, according to Trelvis, the Astros officially lost. There will be no recount, right? Atlanta won, hand over fist, And we're okay with that here in Dallas. Sorry,
Absolutely.
my Houston friends. Trelvis, what do you see? Do you see Dak playing next week?
I think so. It's looking promising. I can tell you that much at least.
Okay.
He practiced yesterday, so I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed. We got a big one coming up.
Yeah. You still think the Cowboys have 12 wins in them this year?
I think so. I think they can pull that
Still.
off. I
All
think
right, 'cause
easily.
I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm going to start laying some
They're
money
on the
down
right
next
track.
week.
We're gonna roll the
Yeah.
dice.
They got a good schedule. They
Tell
got a
me
good
where
schedule.
you want me to put it down for you. I'll be there for you.
I
okay?
will do. I
Charles
will
said
do.
20 on black.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And that reminds me, we will be in Vegas next week, and so we won't have our 99th episode of Cliff's Notes, but we'll be thinking about you at EXPCon. If you'd like some more information about EXPCon and our wonderful brokerage, just reach out to Andre or us. We'd be happy to share with you. And in the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy what we have left of this beautiful warm weather, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks on Cliff's Notes. All right, folks, tune in to Cliff's Notes every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central for the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business. I guarantee it!